This is paper 1 video 3 for the February mock. The first topic we're going to look at on this video is simultaneous equations. The method I always use means that we always have the second letter as the one that we are focusing upon. So here, my first aim is that I want the number in front of the second letter to be the same. They are in this first example. So I would then underline this, and I'm either going to do a column addition or column subtraction. At this point, I use the little acronym DAS. So if the symbols within the equation are different, we add the two equations. If they were the same, we would subtract. Now this will normally only work effectively if it is the second letter that's the same. Here we've got that both of these symbols here are different, so we are going to add the two equations together. 4x plus 5x will give me 9x. Plus 3 and minus 3 cancel each other out. 32 plus 13 would give me 45. So 9x is 45. Dividing both sides by 9 would give me x equals 5. I now need to use that bit of information to find out the value of y. So at this point I pick one of the equations above. I'm going to go for the top one, and I substitute x equals 5 into that equation. So if I do that over on this side, 4x now becomes 4 times 5, so 4x replaced with a 5, plus 3y equals 32. So my next line down, I actually do 4 times 5, give me this. Taking 20 away from both sides would give me 3y equals 12, and therefore y is 4. And here are your two parts of the solution to the first question. For the second question, the second letter is already the same, so again I can simply underline. The two symbols in the middle of the equations are the same this time, so I'm going to subtract. 6x take away 4x is 2x. This is why I subtracted, because y take away y is nothing, so I don't write anything there. And 15 take away 11 would give me 4. 2x is equal to 4, so dividing both by 2, we get that x is 2. To find the value of y, I now substitute this back into one of the equations. I tend to go for the one with the smallest numbers involved, so I'm going to use this one. So I get that 4 times 2 plus y equals 11, just replacing that letter x with 2. So 8 plus y equals 11, therefore y is 3. And I have the two parts of my solution. For the next pair of equations, the second letter, the y, is not the same in both. So the first thing I would have to do is try and make it so that both of these were equal. The quickest way that I can see to do that is to change this second one and multiply it by 3. But if I multiply the y by 3, I must multiply the entire equation by 3. So this would give me 15x plus 3y equals minus 6. At that point, I'm just going to remove that equation so I don't get confused with it. Now, I'm going to either add or subtract the two equations. Because we've got a plus and a plus, that means they're the same, so I subtract. 3x take away 15x, just be careful, would give us minus 12x. 8 minus 6, I'm doing 18, sorry, take away a negative number. So that's the same as doing 18 add 6 would give me 24. I would then have to divide both of these by negative 12. So that would give me x is equal 24 divided by minus 12 is minus 2. I would now need to substitute this back into one of the equations. I'm going to use this one up at the top. This would give me 3 times minus 2, just changing the x for the minus 2 there, plus 3y equals 18. 3 times minus 2 is minus 6. I would then have to add minus 6 to both sides to give me 3y equals 24. And then dividing by 3, y is 8. And those will be my two parts of the solution. And then the final question on this topic. Again, the letter y is not the same in both of these. So in order to make both of these exactly the same, easiest way I can see is to times this bottom one by 2. That would mean that the bottom equation became 10x minus 4y equals 32. So if I just remove that one now so I don't get confused with it. The top one has an add, the bottom one a subtract. They are different, so I'm going to do a column addition. Remember, different add, same subtract. 3x add 10x is 13x. 4y minus 4y cancel each other out. 32 add 7 gives me 39. So 13x equals 39. Dividing both sides by 13 would give me x equals 3. If I substitute this back into one of the equations, I'm going to go for the top one again because it's got smaller numbers. That would mean that I get 3 times 3, because the x I've replaced with this 3 here, plus 4y equals 7. So 9 plus 4y equals 7. If I take 9 away from both sides, that's going to give me 4y equals minus 2. And I would then have to divide by 4, because that is the number in front of the y. So I get y equals minus 2 over 4, which if simplified will give me minus a half, or if you prefer to work in decimals, minus 0.5. The next topic is looking at percentages. So this first question at the top is saying that Wayne bought an engagement ring for Tracy. The ring cost £420, but we need to add on 17.5% VAT. So in order to do this, we would have to start off with 17.5% of 420. Now a little trick for 17.5% is actually to find 10%, 5% and 2.5%. And the reason why this is quite easy, well, 10%, we just divide 420 by 10 to give us 42. Half of 10 is 5, so we just half 42 to give us our 5%. Half of 5% is 2.5%, so we just half the 21 to give us 10.5. If we add all of these together, we get 73.5. That is the amount that we would need to add on to the original value of the ring. So the original ring was 420. Add on 73.5. That would give us a total of 493.5, which, remember, this is all to do with money, so we need an extra 0 on the end and a pound sign at the front. The next question, again to do with fractions and percentages. Jessica's annual income is £12,000. It says she pays 10% of the £12,000 in rent. So the first thing I'm going to do is 10% of 12,000. Remember, that's just the same as dividing by 10. so £1,200 for the rent. It says she spends 1/4 of the £12,000, so read the questions carefully. It's have the original 12,000 on clothes. So to find 1/4 of something, we divide by 4. So that gives us 3,000 for that section. Then it says work out how much of the £12,000 Jessica has left. So I'd have to do 12,000, take away 1,200, take away 3,000, so just taking away the two values we've got, leaving us £7,800 after the rent and clothes have been taken off.